Good morning. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. You have a choice on how you want to live, day by day, moment by moment. The choice is yours. Now, sometimes we feel like we don't have a choice, but you always have a choice. Only you can decide what you're going to do with this day, with this moment, with this next half hour that you can allow yourself to dream, to relax, to set an intention, to block out the outside world, to block out any distractions, and just spend this time with yourself, deciding what do you want to do? What do you want to be? What would you love to have, to experience in your life? Bob Proctor writes, only you can decide. Every day, governments in one place or another are introducing pieces of legislature, enacting new laws, making more rules in an attempt to make their people more successful and happier individuals. Permit me to share something Theodore Roosevelt wrote many years ago on this subject. There has never been devised, and there never will be devised, any law which will enable a person to succeed save by the exercise of those qualities which have always been the prerequisite of success: hard work, keen intelligence, and unflinching will. It's foolish for anyone to sit back waiting to see what the government is going to do for us. Bob Proctor says, I'm not suggesting governments don't make a difference. They do, many times a big difference. But there are many things government cannot do for us. There are only those things we can do for ourselves. For instance, only you can decide to do good work, to give everything you've got to what you do, to be your best. Only you can decide to use your intelligence, to think positive, progressive, constructive thoughts, and then govern your life according to those thoughts. Don't let yourself be swayed by the opinions of others, by the chatter of the masses. Only you can decide to develop an unflinching will, to concentrate, to stay focused on your chosen objective until the task is successfully completed. By following Theodore Roosevelt's advice, you can most certainly be happy and successful, possibly beyond your wildest dreams. When Wernher von Braun asked what it would take to send a rocket to the moon, he answered, the will to do it. That advice will get you to any destination you choose. Happiness and success are gifts you give yourself. Change your life today. Don't gamble on the future. Act now without delay. It is in vain to expect our prayers to be heard if we do not strive as well as pray. What does it take to set a goal, to strive, to do something that you would be really proud of? What does it mean to be successful? Bob Proctor tells us that our problems are mental in nature. In Raymond Hollywell's book, Working with the Law, he suggests that our problems are mental in nature. They have no experience outside of themselves. And it has been discovered that nearly all will yield up their solutions when subjected to a broad and exact analysis. Raymond Hollywell went on to suggest that you and I should have good and sound reasons for all the views we hold. As we try to find these, many of our old-time views will fall to pieces. We should form clear and definite ideas regarding our convictions as to why we do as we do and why we think as we think. That's excellent advice. Another author said essentially the same thing when he said, "It ain't what a person don't know that hurts them, it's what they know that ain't so that hurts them." It's so true. Many of us buy into false concepts. There was a Gallup poll years ago of over 1,000 adults that was published on what people believed was the cause of stress in their lives. More than 50% of people under the age of 50 believed that money and their jobs were the cause of their problems. Those people should definitely follow Hollywell's advice and examine their beliefs. They could eliminate much of their stress. Jobs and money are never the primary cause of stress. Thinking negative. Negative thinking causes stress. The real cause of all problems lies in our thoughts, not in things, not in circumstances. You and I possess the power to change our thoughts. It is our greatest power, the power to choose. If you're feeling stressed, choose to relax. Look at your problems the way a stranger might, and then do something about it now. It's not among the stars to hold our destiny, but in ourselves. The best years of your life are the ones in which you decide your problems are your own. You do not blame them on your mother, the ecology, or the president. You realize that you control your own destiny. First comes thought, then organization of that thought into ideas and plans, then transformation of those plans into reality. The beginning, as you will observe, is in your imagination. You can choose. How many times in a single day do you suppose you say, "I have to"? Count them. I bet you say or hear "I have to" at least 100 times between the time you get up in the morning and when you lie down at night. I have to get the car fixed. I have to go shopping. I won't be home for dinner. I have to work. The truth is, you can go home for dinner if you really want to. You choose to work. There is nothing you have to do. Everything you do, you choose to do. Bob Proctor says, "I know you're probably thinking, well, wait a minute, Proctor, there are some things a person has to do. You have to pay taxes." He says, "Think about it, my friend. You don't have to pay taxes. You have a choice of going to jail or moving to a tax-free zone. I agree this may seem ridiculous, but nevertheless, it's true. J. Martin Coe wrote a marvelous book titled Your Greatest Power. His book was about choice. The ability to choose is your greatest power. In fact, the ability to choose is what separates you from the rest of the animal kingdom. First comes thought, then organization of that thought into ideas and plans, then transformation of those plans into reality. The beginning, as you will observe, is in your imagination. Think of the number of times you're asked to go somewhere or do something and you feel you have to. You don't have to. You have the ability to choose. You can say no. Are you aware that the word no can be a complete sentence? You may choose to be a little more diplomatic and suggest that you have chosen to do something else rather than give a straight, flat no, but it's your choice. Give this some serious thought. Life is short, too short to be spent doing something or going somewhere you have not chosen to go or to do. Many people stay in jobs they detest. Why? Another short, complete statement, I quit, could change their lives. It's your choice. Choose to have a great day. That's what I've chosen to do today. Of the blessings set before you, make your choice and be content. The history of free men is never really written by chance, but by your own choice. And freedom can be measured by the number of things that we can walk away from. I'm going to say the statement again that Bob Proctor wrote earlier. It is not in the stars to hold our destiny, but in ourselves. The best years of your life are the ones in which you decide your problems are your own. You do not blame them on your mother, the ecology, or the president. You realize that you control your own destiny. You can call your own shots. Where we have been, where we are now, and where we are going. These are three important phases in everyone's life. You can mentally mix exciting experiences from your past and present that will prepare you to develop an interesting vision for your future. Or if you're not mentally alert, you could very easily reverse the process and end up reflecting on some unpleasant experience or failure from your past that would cause you to see only the negative circumstances that exist in the present. In Bob Proctor's book, The ABCs of Success, he talks about circumstances, and he says this sort of mental activity would automatically develop a negative attitude and prevent any productive planning for your future. Our past experiences and our present circumstances have absolutely no power other than that which we choose to give them. As each of us visits where we have been many times each day, get into the habit of giving your mental energy to your past accomplishments, your successes, the experiences that have brought great joy into your life. You would then only see all of the opportunities that surround you. Positive circumstances will pop up one after another. Where you are now suddenly becomes very exciting. Mentally mix that part of your past success, your past pleasures and accomplishments, the experiences that brought you great joy. Mentally mix that part with the present, and you'll start to have difficulty containing yourself with the dynamic vision of your future. Where you have been, where you are now, and where you are going, these are three important phases. Make your mental mix a winning combination. Many of the successful people I know keep a win list, a victory log, a record of their accomplishments, and they carry it with them and read it periodically. You might try this, and then when you look back, you will be certain of holding a beautiful picture. You are always free to change your mind and choose a different future or a different past. Life is divided into three terms: that which was, that which is, and that which will be. Let us learn from the past to profit by the present, and from the present to live better in the future. What is it that you really want? Set it as a worthy destination. You know, there's so many unusual stories that sound like miracles. Think about the stories that you've heard of people who have overcome at some point appeared to be virtually insurmountable handicaps. A boy whose legs were terribly burned, who seemed destined to live life as a cripple, becomes one of the world's outstanding track stars. A poor boy amasses a fortune. A woman, blind and deaf from birth, becomes one of the most inspirational personalities of all time. Every day, new and exciting, new and dramatic stories appear somewhere. Obstacles that have been overcome, outstanding success achieved. They're too numerous to mention. But how and why? These people do far more than the so-called unhandicapped to overcome obstacles that seem insurmountable and achieve the success that they seek. Why? Earl Nightingale said, "The answer, if fully understood, will bring you and me anything we really want." And it's deceptively simple. These people have goals. That is, they fix in their mind a point they have to reach, something that's more important than the effort and time that have to be expended in its achievement. A dream seen only in their mind and felt in the heart that's too big to be denied. A dream which rises before their eyes when they awaken in the morning, and it's the last thing they think about as they drop off to sleep at night. This dream, invisible to all the world except to the person who holds it, is responsible for perhaps every great advance of mankind. It's the prime cause of much of what we see in the world around us. Everything worthwhile achieved by mankind is a dream come true, a goal that has been reached. It has been said that what the mind of man can conceive and believe it can achieve. It's the skyscraper, the bridge spanning the bay, landing on the moon. It's your cell phone. It's communication across continents, flight. It's the little corner business establishment. It's the lovely home in the suburbs. It's the youngster getting a diploma and the new baby in its mother's arms. Could even be a low golf handicap, a business position achieved. What the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Do you know what that means to you and me? Well, Bob Proctor and Earl Nightingale, they tried to explain. It took many years to find this out for themselves, but once it's understood, life becomes easier, more fun, more exciting, and incalculably more rewarding. To begin to understand this subject of goals, we have to realize that it's the very basis of any success. In fact, it's the very definition of success. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Think about this for a moment. Success is a progressive realization of a worthy goal, a worthy ideal. It means that any person regularly engaged in achieving something which they consider worthy of themselves is successful. It also, at the same time, means that any person not so engaged must be defined as not successful. Temporarily may be a failure. Because any person with a dream in their mind and a heart which that person is pursuing as a worthy goal is successful. The uninformed always seem to equate success with lots of money. While money often accompanies success, it has nothing to do necessarily with success, unless it happens to be part of the goal. It's up to you, it's up to me, it's up to each one of us to decide for ourselves what is the goal. With such a simple definition of success, you'd think everyone would be successful. Everyone can be, everyone should be, but it's estimated that only about 3% of people believe that they are successful. Of all the people you pass on the street, only about 3 out of 100 can tell you what they're working towards. The rest are just drifting along, hoping something good will happen to them, letting circumstances and economic winds blow them this way and that. To truly understand why there's such a ridiculously small number of people who take the time to sit down, decide what they want, and establish it as a goal, Bob Proctor and Earl Nightingale suggest go back and revisit the idea of paradigms. Paradigms can have a tremendous influence over our thinking, and if permitted, will cause an individual to think of all the valid reasons and excuses why they are not able to have what they want in life. Your conscious mind, your intellectual mind, can decide there's something that you really want. And as information flows into your conscious mind, you deal with it intellectually. You deal with it just on an intellectual thinking basis. You know, people can be very intellectually brilliant and still accomplish very little in their day-to-day lives because their day-to-day actions just produce mediocre results. Everyone knows how to do better than they're presently doing in almost every aspect of their life. But there is an enormous difference between knowing how to do something and actually doing it. The knowing has to do with the conscious mind. The doing has to do with the subconscious mind. What is it that you would love to do or be or to have? The 3% of people who are successful take the time and exercise the discipline to decide on a destination. Something so big and beautiful and bold that it's a vision. It would seem like a miracle. They see it in their mind and they hold it in their heart. Just like if you were out in the middle of the ocean, you don't decide that that's all there is. You know that there is a port that you're going after, you're seeking. You've programmed the ship and you trust the process that you're going to end up in the right port. Unless you have the right destination in mind, you could drift for years. Decide what port of call you're going to. What vision do you hold in your mind? Be specific. What is it that you want? You, as an individual person, what is it that you would like very much to have, to be, to do, even though you feel that it is for one reason or another somewhat beyond your reach at this present time? Bob Proctor always said, if you can tell me what you want, I can show you how to get it, as long as it's worthy of you. Does that catch your attention? What I want you to do is decide what gets you so excited, so in love with a destination. It starts with deciding, holding an image in your conscious mind, adding emotion to it, writing it down and thinking about it as if it's already done. You want to give all your mental energy to building the image of the good that you desire, and the image must be in the present tense. See yourself already in possession of what it is that you want. When you're fantasizing, do not give any mental energy to how it's going to be accomplished. Do not concern yourself with where the money, the time, the assistance you may require is going to come from. How the fantasy will manifest in form has nothing to do with building the fantasy. Attempting to think of how will either limit or destroy the fantasy. That's where most people fail. Most people ruin their chance for great accomplishment because they're trying to figure out how it's going to manifest. That is not your responsibility. What is going to be manifested is all you need to be concerned about. See it clearly in detail on the screen of your mind. Feel yourself already in possession of the good that you desire. Establish a clearly defined goal is one of the most important steps we can possibly take. Write it down. Carry that around with you. Maybe you put sticky notes all over your house. Carry a goal card in your pocket and look at it frequently. And every time you reach into your pocket or your purse, you can feel that goal card. You know where you're going, you know what you want. And as you start to spend time thinking about it, feeling it, when you get ideas, write those ideas down and take action on those ideas. When you're in a calm, beautiful state of feeling already in alignment with your goal, the actions that you take in alignment with your goal will cause that goal to show up in your life. Now, you can write down, I am so happy and grateful now that this is my life. And remember, just like a ship, a person can reach only one port at a time. Let go of the confusion, let go of the anxiety and stress. Decide where you're going. And remember, once you decide on your goal, write it out, carry it with you, think about it first thing in the morning and the last thing at night. Decide that's where you're going. Remind yourself you are willing, you are able, and go out and do something today that will lead you to that goal. Change your thoughts, change your feelings, change your actions, and your results in life will totally change. You might want to go back and listen to some of my morning mindfulness recordings, or reach out and let's have a discussion about what it is you truly desire. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. Enjoy your day. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7. Thank you.